All right, so we got some pretty major updates here in terms of the U.S. foreign policy approach to the country of Haiti. So we got this update here that we're going to get to from the Washington Post on this UN draft proposal that the United States and some of our allies have been backing in terms of getting some sort of a military or some sort of a security apparatus involved in the current situation that is unfolding in Haiti. So before we get into this, just a little bit of background on how we got to this point. So number one, the people of Haiti have been out in the streets protesting for weeks, if not months now, for a multitude of different reasons. Some has to do with the current corrupt government that is in place that was backed by the United States. Some of it has to do with a rise in food prices and a rise in fuel prices, as well as just like political instability and gang violence and a lot of different factors that have gone into why people are taking to the streets in a moment like this. And so the United States, along with, again, many of our Western European allies and allies within the region like Canada, have decided to take this approach in order to try to address the problems of the current political instability in the country. And I mean, obviously, you can tell by the title here that this is going to be something that the United States is going to be largely leading. And obviously this is something which, if you look at the modern history of the United States involvement, specifically within Haiti or in a military capacity within any country around the world throughout modern American history, this is something which in all likelihood, at least in my opinion, is going to be an absolute unmitigated disaster, especially in the long term. But on top of that, you also have to understand that as of right now, we really don't have a very clear picture in terms of what form this intervention or this involvement in Haiti, whatever you want to call it, what form it's actually going to look like logistically and in practice on the ground. So we have very limited details, but we're just going to work off what we have right now. So let's go ahead and get into some of this. They say here from the Washington Post, U.S. backs sending international forces to Haiti, draft proposal says. A draft UN resolution citing instability and violence in Haiti suggests the Biden administration may be willing to participate in a multinational mission that has a military component. So this is the real interesting part here, which is that you're adding a military component to go basically bolster security force, which is led by the current prime minister, this guy named Ariel Henry. And you're basically going to bolster his security forces in theory, I guess, to go push back against some of the gang violence. But another component of that is obviously to quell the protests that are currently happening across the country. And I guess the idea is that we're going to return stability, we are going to return peace, and some semblance of like freedom or democracy or whatever other buzzwords that U.S. imperialists frequently like to use in situations like this. But you need a little bit of background in terms of like who we're actually sending the support to within the current leadership or within the current government of Haiti. So just a little bit of background on that. So the current prime minister of Haiti, again, this guy, Ariel Henry, this is somebody who was basically picked by the United States and other allies, like, this membership that's called like the core group, I guess, or the core member countries that basically got together, and in the aftermath of the assassination of the previous prime minister, this guy named Jovenel Moise, decided to pick this guy, Henry, to go take his place and recognized him on the international stage, giving him a little bit of legitimacy and saying this is the guy who is going to lead this country. Okay, so number one, the first thing you have to understand in terms of background context is that this guy was not democratically elected by the people of Haiti. He certainly does not have popular backing among the people of Haiti right now. Again, part of the reason they were out protesting is because of his actions as the leader of this country. And so this guy was not democratically elected. He doesn't have the popular support of the people of Haiti. And this is a guy who we would be sending to go give military or security assistance to again, simultaneously, I guess, push back against some of the increasing gang violence, and then also to crush the protests, basically. Now, again, we don't know logistically what that's going to look like on the ground, but you have to understand that this guy was not democratically elected. He doesn't have that popular support. And on top of that, there are also, I think, credible allegations that he has some sort of a history or some sort of ties with the gangs in question. And on top of that, there's also been credible allegations against him that he was actually directly involved in the assassination, or tangentially involved in the assassination of the previous president. Okay, so, and in the meantime, he's also been like stifling the investigation process and stifling accountability to some extent. So again, I mean, the idea that like we are sending in troops there, or we are sending in some sort of a security assistance in order to like support the people of Haiti, no, you're sending them in there to support the government of Haiti, which is a government led by a guy who, number one, has affiliations with the gangs, number two, was potentially implicated in the assassination of the previous president, which then led to his ascension to power, and number three, was basically just appointed by Western, countries like the United States and Western European countries as well, appointed to this position without the popular backing of the people of Haiti. So to me, just looking at the fundamentals of the situation, it seems like this would be an absolute unmitigated disaster. But we're gonna get into a little bit of the limited details that we have here. So they say here from the Washington Post that the United States has drafted a United Nations Security Council resolution encouraging the immediate deployment of a multinational rapid action force to Haiti in response to the rapidly deteriorating security and humanitarian situation there, according to a copy of the resolution obtained by the Washington Post. They say the drafting of the resolution follows a push by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres for the creation of an international force to bolster the Haitian National Police as powerful armed gangs destabilize the country, disrupting the supply of fuel and electricity to the impoverished Caribbean nations. So a couple of different things. Again, this is something where we are sending in support to go help the Haitian National Police, not just a purely humanitarian venture that we're talking about here, where you're just supporting the people of Haiti against some of the gang violence or anything like that. We're supporting the Haitian National Police, which have their own issues with involvement with the gangs and corruption. And also, again, you're supporting a government that just at a fundamental level is not a democratically elected government. It is not something that has the broader support of the Haitian people. So if you're trying to talk about some sort of a long-term solution, that is something that should be determined by the people of Haiti, not something that should be determined by a leader who is essentially appointed or at least recognized and helped to rise to power with the backing of some of the countries like the United States and France and Canada that have a deep, multi-decade, if not multi-century involvement in the country of Haiti, as Haiti has been one of the most exploited, one of the most dominated countries in the entire Western Hemisphere, if not the world. And, a lot of that imperial action by some of these countries that are now deciding to get militarily or otherwise involved in the current crisis that they are facing, a lot of these countries have produced the conditions necessary for this type of crisis to unfold in the first place. So to me, this just reads like, this is not something that in a long-term sense is going to have any sort of success in terms of, spreading democracy around the world or freedom or peace or whatever other buzzwords that, U.S. imperialists like to use in situations like this. So I think it's just at a fundamental level an incredibly flawed approach in terms of actually achieving those sorts of goals, which is, what they claim is their end goal in this process. Of course, we know that the United States doesn't really get involved in foreign affairs unless it is to serve corporate America and our multinational corporate interests that exploit their resources, exploit their labor. This especially applies to a country like Haiti and, also happens to support us on other policy issues. One that's specific to the current situation that we're talking about is that this Prime Minister Ariel Henry, he was somebody who was in support of the Biden administration and Trump administration policy, but especially under the Biden administration policy towards Haitian asylum seekers, where basically he was using the Trump justification under Title 42 to basically get around the international obligations to treat asylum seekers and give them the adequate court processes and give them the asylum that they are looking for, and using this Title 42 and the COVID justification basically just ship them back on flights. We're talking like almost a dozen flights per day at some point earlier this year and last year, where we were just sending some of the most desperate people in the entire world back to a country that was facing an extreme crisis on their hands. So again, the idea that the United States cares about like the humanitarian situation or cares about your average person in Haiti, that's just not true, right? So this obviously has some sort of ulterior motives to this type of an operation, but they continue saying that the resolution is the first sign that the Biden administration may be willing to participate in a Haiti mission that has a military component. So again, they're being very, very vague with this type of language here. I mean, it almost sounds like an invasion, but they're saying like, oh, it's a mission that has a military component. It's like, what are you really talking about here? Let's get some details. But they say the U.S. officials have been non-committal when asked about requests to send U.S. forces to lessen the violence and misrule that has led to a shortage of clean drinking water and threatens to worsen a cholera outbreak. The resolution does not identify specific countries that would participate in the Rapid Action Force, nor does it spell out what roles those nations would play. And again, we have some lack of comments here. They say neither the White House nor the State Department immediately responded to requests for comment about the draft resolution, which was first reported by this organization. And they also say a spokesperson for the Haitian government also didn't respond for a request for comment, and also a Pentagon spokesperson, Patrick Ryder, didn't respond for a request for comment as well. So, I mean, that's just basically the limited details that we have right now. But again, I mean, at a fundamental level, you want to look throughout the history of modern American imperial involvement in countries, whether it's Iraq, whether it's Afghanistan, whether it's so many other countries that we are sort of running these like covert wars and covert operations in around Africa, around the Middle East, around South and Central America, and including Haiti as well. I mean, any situation that you look at in terms of the United States getting involved in internal crises is never going to end well in a long-term sense. So I mean, maybe in a short-term sense, you might be able to create some sort of a outwardly perceived political stability. But what the fuck does stability mean in a country where the actual people of Haiti don't have real democratic representation, or they're not in favor of the current government that was, again, essentially appointed by outside countries that have a deeply entrenched history of fucking these people over, right? I mean, we're talking about centuries of exploitation, the exploitation of their resources, their labor forces, etc., and keeping this country destabilized, keeping this country impoverished for the almost entirety of its modern existence. And so to me, the idea that like we are the people who have the hubris, the gall to go into another country like this and pretend as if we are going to be able to solve problems that need to be solved by the actual people of Haiti, and we're going to go in there with some sort of a military apparatus or some sort of a security assistance to prop up this government that we hope to install and to put in place, which doesn't have the popular backing of the people of Haiti. That to me just spells like it's going to be an absolute disaster at the end of the day. I mean, again, maybe you get some sort of a short-term stability, but in a long-term sense, this is not going to be a solution, right? You need to actually return legitimate power economically, politically, in terms of their foreign policy. You need to give the people of Haiti an actual representative government, right? You need to let them achieve their own goals autonomously without this overarching involvement of some of these powerful countries around the world, like the United States, like France, like Canada, right? So, I mean, this to me just seems like, with the limited details that we have right now, that this is obviously not going to be a great thing. Another important point that you have to understand in a moment like this is that on paper, a lot of these operations may seem like really easy. Okay, we're going to go in there, we're going to, simply push back the gangs and fight them out in the streets and, return stability. Or, in the case of like Afghanistan, we're just going to go around, we're going to find the bad guys, the terrorists, we're going to get them out, we're going to promote democracy, promote freedom, promote all of these different values that we claim to espouse. But at the end of the day, I mean, the United States doesn't have the logistical or military capability in order to accurately and reliably distinguish between combatants and between gang members and between even security forces and civilians. I mean, this is not something that we are equipped to do. And it's just this classic like Western imperialist mindset where you think that, the people of this country, they don't have the ability to govern themselves. They don't have the ability to form some type of a stable society by themselves. And so they need the United States to come and save them, from their own internal fighting or something like that. It's just a completely ridiculous imperial mindset that I think is only going to end in disaster. Again, you're talking about countries that have a deeply rooted history and involvement in destroying this country and setting up a lot of the conditions that led to the current crisis that they are facing right now. So again, the idea that you're going to be able to set up some sort of a stable government in power, continue backing the unelected government that is in power right now without the popular backing of the Haitian people, and simply just impose that on them as if that's going to be some sort of a long-term solution is just to me completely fucking ridiculous. So I'll keep you guys updated in terms of when we get more details on what this operation or this task force or security apparatus is going to be looking like. But as of right now, based on the limited information we have right now, this seems like an absolutely horrible idea.
Everyone is saying good politic guy has the best politic. Believe me, no one does it like him. Believe me, everyone is saying